I'd like to call to order the regular board meeting for the town of Aberdeen for December 9th, 2024. First item on the agenda is the call to order and the Pledge of Allegiance. Please stand. So we'll close item 1A and go to item 2, setting of the agenda.
There are no changes.
Do I have a motion?
Make a motion to set the agenda as stated.
I second it.
And we have a motion, we have a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Hearing none opposed, motion carries. Close out item 2, go to item 3, the consent agenda. All items listed below are considered routine or have been discussed at length in previous meetings and will be enacted by one motion. No separate discussion will be held except on a request by a member of the Board of Commissioners. The consent agenda is as written and as published. Do we have a motion?
I make a motion we accept the consent
Second.
agenda.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Hearing none opposed, that motion carries. Close out 3, go to motion 4. Item 4, informal discussion and public comment. We'll go to 4A, Police Department presentations. We'll turn that over to Chief Chavis.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Hey, is anybody protecting the town?
Yes, sir. It's safe right now.
Okay.
It is. Tonight I will be swearing Detective O'Dowd in, if you would come forward. A little bit about Sean O'Dowd. Detective O'Dowd is married to his high school sweetheart, Jessica O'Dowd, and they currently have 4 children together. He is retired U.S. Army Special Operations Command, Office of Special Warfare. Sean is a retired Master Sergeant. He has 6 combat deployments, including the initial invasion into Afghanistan and Iraq. He joined the Aberdeen Police Department in 2023 and has excelled in every part of the job. Detective O'Dowd is currently the team leader of the Special Response Team, and tonight his wife Jessica will be holding the Bible for him if she would come forward.
If you will, place your left hand on the Bible, raise your right hand, and repeat after me. I, Sean O'Dowd,
I, Sean O'Dowd,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support and maintain
that I will support and maintain
the Constitution and laws
the Constitution and laws
of the United States
of the United States
and the Constitution and laws
and the Constitution and laws
of North Carolina,
of North Carolina,
not inconsistent therewith,
not inconsistent therewith,
and that I will faithfully and impartially
and that I will faithfully and impartially
execute and discharge
execute and discharge
the duties of my office
the duties of my office
as police detective
as police detective
for the town of Aberdeen,
for the town of Aberdeen.
so help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
Next, I will be calling Captain Darling and Sergeant Williams up front. Tonight, they will be receiving their leadership certificate. Just a few things about them. I'm not going to read all their accolades because we'll be up here all night. So, for Sergeant Williams, he joined the Aberdeen Police Department in February of 2015. Sergeant Williams was promoted to Master Patrol Officer in 2018. He was then promoted to Sergeant in March of 23. Sergeant Williams is the only officer at the Aberdeen Police Department that have all 5 series of incredible leadership completed, which is 500 hours. Captain Darling joined the Aberdeen Police Department in 2017. Captain Darling was promoted to detective in 2019, and she currently holds the rank of Operations Captain. Captain Darling and Sergeant Williams have been, for the last 3 months, completing the Leadership Institute, which is a 3-month class consisting of 120 hours. This program pretty much focused on community skills, leadership, motivation and achievement, project management, and employment law. Due to them believing in leadership so much, they applied for their leadership certificate. The certificate, you got to have a minimum of 400 So the Deputy Stone will come up and present them their certificates. And I will just make sure y'all show it to the board. But congratulations, thank you.
I'd like to say thank you to the police department and then for everything that y'all do for us and keeping us safe. Continue to do the good work and progressing along. Thank you again.
Yes, sir, thank you.
So we'll close out 4A and go to public comment. We'll give them a chance to get out, and then we'll, anyone like to get up and speak? Mm-mm. All right, do we have anyone that would like to speak on anything? I have a couple of comments. We have supper with Santa on Friday at 6 p.m., so if it hasn't filled up, please register. Is it full? Okay. We have the Christmas parade that begins at 10 a.m. on Saturday morning, and then we have the old-fashioned Christmas at 1 p.m. at Malcolm Blue. Am I missing anything for this week? All right. Anything from the board?
I attended the Christmas tree lighting ceremony, and it was really beautiful. A little bit windy, cold, but people were excited.
Okay, well, we'll close out 4B and move on to 5, manager's report.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. Just a couple of quick items. You mentioned the dates coming up. It's a busy week or two with the holiday celebrations, and really look forward to the Christmas party, which kicks us off. I mean, the Christmas party at the fire department for those in the fire department environment, I'll say. That's always a big event. But then also the parade, obviously on Saturday morning, is always a big event. And the weather looks like it's going to be a bit warmer than it was last weekend. So that's some good news. I sent the board an update, and Joe, of course, is here tonight. If you had any questions on both the Talbot Street project and the Highway 5 sewer outfall project. So I know there's been a lot of questions and, just a lot of, hey, what's taking so long? And I think Joe's summary did a good job of laying out, it's just where we are. There's some engineering we're waiting on and some things that just have to happen, but the town's done everything we can to help the project and to move it along. So we're just kind of wading through some of those approvals, on the outside. So that's just where we are. I think the developer in that building certainly understands on the Talbot Street with their building, and of course, the impact that's having on, finishing Knight Street and Talbot Street. It's just the way that is right now, because it would be kind of a project, and then if we paved it and have to cut it and tear it up on the first, month or two. So we certainly don't want to do that, but we're getting there, so hopefully that'll happen here in the near future. Also, I know I've kept the board informed on the reimbursement from NCDOT for the improvements on 15501 near the Sportsplex entrance. And so again, jumping through a few more hoops, everything was approved, including the agreement that came after the board approval from DOT. So that was another kind of add-on of a little bit unexpected agreement we had to approve. So if you recall, this was approved as a budget item, an allocation in the state budget this past summer, late summer really. So after that, even though the money was approved, we're going through the DOT board approval for something that was approved before then by the General Assembly, go figure. And then once the DOT board approves it, now we're going back to a contract for a project that we did, finished a year ago on a contract for it. So that's where we are. So we're trying to work through it and just get the paperwork completed on that. But hopefully, we have heard them say they hope to have a check to us before the end of December. So we're hoping that's going to come through. So, but Butch and I are working on that pretty regularly. There's always something flowing through on that one. So we're getting closer on that one. And then I think I just gave you a heads up. I have gotten some good information from the lender for the developer and the purchase of the old Aberdeen Elementary School. So again, some more information today, or more, documentation today that was going through. So again, working on that. And again, shooting for the end of December for that closing, even with the holidays. Hopefully that will happen. And then finally, I mentioned my weekly report last week that the planning department and Main Street program had their site visit last week from the Main Street state representative, or one of them. And Lindy met with them, I met with them, and a few others at different times with their representative, and it was a good visit. They did a walking tour as part of that visit on, I think it was Thursday. Yeah, I think it was Thursday, Wednesday, close. And but it was a very positive visit. They were very complimentary of our program and things that we've gotten done. So I think they felt like we weren't just moving in the right direction, but we were well ahead of the game in many areas. And they were very complimentary about Lindy and her hard work and her organization. So that was a good report from Main Street. So felt really good about that. And you've got the rest of the materials in my written report, along with the updates and the hirings, where we are in those. But things are moving forward pretty quickly and in a good way. So I think we feel good about that. And there's a few things on the agenda for next year, the budget schedule and the regular meeting schedule, kind of really just administrative tasks that we do every December or January each year. And so that's part of it. And also just want to give you a heads up, because of the early meeting in December, we don't have our late meeting in December. There's really no financial report for November, but Butch will send out something late December. We just don't really have all the numbers, truth be told, of November until another week or two. So that's why there's no real report at this regular meeting. But he'll try and send something out before the end of the year just to kind of keep us on track. But if you have any questions in the interim about that, obviously you can touch base and let us know. So that's all I have.
We'll close out 5 and go to 6, which is our public hearings and new business. We'll go to 6A, the 2025 meeting schedule. Item 1, consider approval of the 2025 Mayor and Board of Commissioners meeting schedule.
I make a motion that we approve the Mayor and Board of Commissioners meeting schedule.
I have,
second.
all right, I have a motion and a second. Any discussion from the board? Hearing none, all in favor? Hearing no opposed, that motion carries. Item 2, consider approval of the budget calendar for fiscal year 2025, 2026.
I'll make a motion to approve the budget calendar for 25, 26.
And I second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion from the board? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Hearing no opposed, that motion carries. We'll close out 6A, go to 6B. Consider approval of an ordinance creating a social district to regulate open containers of alcoholic beverages and amending section 96.09 of the Aberdeen Code of Ordinances. And I'll remind everybody, this is not a public hearing. This is just for the Board of Commissioners and will be up for a vote at the close of this presentation.
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor Pro Tem, Commissioners, and members of the public. This presentation, I do not have a slide presentation tonight. Everything that I will be referencing is included in your staff memo to include all of the enclosures. So I will first address a summary. Towards the end of the presentation, at the public hearing, there were some questions that were presented to staff, and so I do have the findings from those questions listed in the staff report, and I will get to those. There was a bit of confusion on my part, so I wanted to provide some clarification on some data points that were included in my presentation, but not in the staff report. So I just wanted to verify that information is listed in these bullet points, which included the listing of the downtown ABC permit holders and their operating hours that they have posted, the graphic of the established North Carolina social districts. Also will clarify that those are the current social districts in North Carolina. And it's annotated in here as well, out of those, there are currently 72, and there are 39 Main Street social districts. So a total across the state is 72. Additionally, I did have quotes from 6 different NC social districts at the time. Those are from news and press reports. They were included in the presentation, originally presented at the work session, but they were not in the staff packet at the public hearing. And lastly, the graphics that displayed the survey results, again, they were in the presentation, but not in the staff packet. All of that information is in the staff packet tonight. And so if there's any questions, please feel free to ask. So we did get an updated listing of business operating days and hours. That was provided at the last meeting, along with at the public hearing. And additionally, since the public hearing, I have done additional research. What I did was, we have a Main Street listserv, and that includes all the Main Street communities. I put an inquiry out on that listserv to get feedback on social districts and what the characterization has been since they've been enacted and active, and there's varying lengths of time, but ultimately, I received a few responses. Those are included in the staff report tonight, but I did send out an email today earlier because I received an overwhelming amount of direct email responses over the weekend, so I wanted to make sure those were captured as well, because they also provided significant insight into what we're seeing across the state for the social districts that I did receive responses for, and I have 25 total direct responses that I've captured for you tonight in the staff reports. And so at the DAB meeting, which was the day after the public hearing on the 26th, we revisited the boundaries and the active days and times after discussion, review based on what the discussions were sort of leaning towards, and the DAB was very amenable to adjusting the boundaries. And as you'll see in the staff report, it does no longer include, I'm going to get to the map, sorry about that. I want to make sure, here we go. So as you'll see on the southern end, there's only 2 parcels on the east side of the railroad tracks, or 2 zoning districts rather, which is the Carolina Barbell, the Rail House Brewery, and then the town parking lot, and then the lots where they have Keys Appliance and the venue, a salon. And so you'll see once it gets to that corner, it goes back west across the tracks again and heads north down Sycamore. So currently, we've adjusted it for a smaller footprint. It still includes the ABC permit holders currently, and in terms of the active days and times, Thursday through Saturday was presented with 11 a.m. to 11 p.m., and then on Sundays, 12 p.m. to 11 p.m. And so that was the adjusted proposal from the DAB. And again, all of these are subject to change based on what would be appropriate. We can make boundary changes, we can make days and time changes as needed. And we can also revisit any adjustments in the future.
No, Rail House is included in that, right?
Rail House is correct.
Okay, okay.
That was in that southern portion.
Right.
In the orange.
As long as they front the street. I got you.
That's correct.
And what are the pentagrams, that's the signs, is that what you're saying?
Signage location.
Those are the signs where they're gonna.
Yes. Those are the proposed signage locations based on the adjusted boundary. So anywhere that you would exit the boundary, it'd be in the corner of the property. So for example, in the southeast, next to Rail House, there'd be signs posted so that patrons would know you cannot go past Rail House with a container, with an open container, a social district cup specifically.
So they couldn't take it over into the park, so, because there's a sign there.
So the park was not included in the adjusted boundary. So that was something that would be potentially looked at in the future, once the development happens with the community park. And understanding that the Artist League is still over there, so the Artist League in this adjusted boundary is not included. But again, that's something that can be reconsidered and revisited in the future based on a period of evaluation. So this as is was the DAB's proposal plus the adjusted days and times.
Pine Street and South, where the postmaster's house is that included in the, that looked like it was included? I just wanted to know.
Not the postmaster's house, Mayor.
Okay, all right.
So it wouldn't extend any further east than Rail House Brewery on the orange.
This is Pine Street, this is
What's the red on South Street and Pine Street?
That is the postmaster's house property.
That's not included?
That is not included.
It's just the area within the
Oh, I see.
gray,
Right.
the dark gray, or if their property abounds to that gray, dark gray line.
Now, the red and
Yeah.
the beige or whatever color that is kind of confusing.
Yeah, they're just the zoning districts. They're just designating the zoning districts.
So then according to this, anything on the south side, I guess, of South Street or I guess the south or west side, they're not included?
So it would be the storefronts, so you would not be able to go south on Sycamore Street, for example, here. So this is the corner where the Thrive Pilates and the Next Level Salon. So you'd be able to exit the storefront onto South Street, but you would not be able to continue
Come
south
to the
on
back.
Sycamore.
Gotcha, okay.
So what did we say about the park? Did we
The
say?
park is not included.
I know it isn't, but I'm just saying so that people would not, the signage is gonna say it ends.
Mhm.
Correct,
That's,
so-
that's all the signage is gonna be there to keep people from carrying into the play area, is my concern. I mean,
They would
is that
not
we're
be
gonna
able
have
to go
now put on-
past Garrett Street with the beverage. The sign would be posted there, which essentially is also Exchange Street. They're just a bit offset on the map. That's where the signage would be posted.
All right, do we have any more?
Yeah, I just wanted to say, we had talked about maybe starting a little smaller, not having 11 to 11 every day, because it's 11 to 11 every day, 7 days a week, except one is 12 to 11. And I would think, I'm not really, I'm not getting a hold of this like I should, but I feel that if we're gonna do this, we should do it, start off, just maybe 3 or 4 days, not.
But that they are proposing 11 a.m.
Yeah.
to 11 p.m. Thursday through Saturday, and 12 p.m. to 11 p.m. on Sundays.
So 4 days. not-
4 days.
Okay.
Yeah. And then we have an option in the motions to limit this to 1 year with a reeval at 9 months.
I would even like to go 1 to 9 on Sunday instead of 12.
Like she said, we can change the times, we can do that in the motion.
1 to 9.
1 to 9.
When we get to the motions, we can make that change.
You say it's 4 days on there?
Thursday through Sunday.
I mean, we actually, how many businesses stay open until 11? I only counted 3. It's about 3, right? How many?
Rail House, the,
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't hear the question.
She's saying on Sunday, how many businesses are open that late on a Sunday night?
For ABC permitting, it would be Rail House. I believe the Workshop Tavern, I'd have to check their hours. Some businesses just adjusted hours seasonally, but 9 to 11 p.m. is the window for the latest. The Guatemalan restaurant, I believe stays open till 9 p.m. also. So the latest would be Rail House Brewery. And in the event that there would be an event at the Neon Rooster, they're often open late at night, but I don't have a reoccurring operating schedule for them.
Right.
So 3 to 4 businesses do stay open then that are ABC permit holders.
So if you're open till 11 o'clock, there's only maybe 3 or 4 businesses open, is that right?
Yeah.
You know,
That's correct.
Unless there's a special event and then they.
Yeah.
Right,
like-
yeah.
So if I'm understanding the question, so I think you're trying to match when alcohol sales would be happening, when other retail stores would be open. And I don't think that there would be a time where that would overlap significantly. It gives the retail and other professional services businesses opportunities to do more extended hours outside of their regular Monday through Friday business operating hours. For downtown, it's generally 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. is really where the bulk of retail happens, but professional services, there are some that stay open, that open early, that stay open late, they're by appointment only, and so there's not really a set operating time frame. Some salons, for example, will have appointments later in the evening sometimes, it's based on the individual stylist. So I think trying to characterize something and align it with, you know, when sales are happening versus when retail is happening, doesn't overlap effectively, but this gives opportunity for those businesses to look into other opportunities to collaborate with the Rail House, with the Neon Rooster, and with some of the other ABC permittees. And they're also, I will add, ETC has Champaign on Main, for example, which is another opportunity that they were trying to utilize to expand their business model. And so that would be a fourth business that could be open. It's just, it gives more opportunities, more options for retail to happen.
Was your question more related to the Sunday hours? Or was it overall?
Well, actually, it just doesn't seem to be a lot going on downtown. And at that time of night, it doesn't seem to be anything too much happening. But you're saying that maybe it would encourage people to stay open. You answered the question that I had. I was trying to understand why the hours, and there's nobody down there. No, three places open. It just, I didn't understand.
Any additional questions from the board? Are we ready for a motion?
Do we have a set motion or is?
In your packet, you have 3 motions. We have, Regina, you want me to read those motions into the record and then let them choose, or?
We have motion 1, motion to approve the Aberdeen Social District as submitted or as amended. Motion to approve motion 2, motion to approve the Aberdeen Social District as submitted or as amended with conditions. Condition presented from the last public hearing was program is to be reevaluated 9 months after inception with a report brought to the board. Staff is to recommend revisions based on this data. Infractions or other incidents documented by police, written responses to questions from downtown businesses, any data available regarding increased foot traffic or other economic activity during the trial period. Feedback solicited from the community at large through website and social media for widest dissemination.
All right, I make a motion that we approve the Aberdeen Social District as amended with the hours, all of the conditions included.
Are you doing the trial period or not?
Yeah, that's what I say with, is included, trial period. Yeah.
I second.
And what were the hours again, Mr. Helms? I want to make sure that Sunday is correct.
Uh,
You said 1?
1 to 9 Sunday,
And everything
1 to 9
else was
Sunday.
as submitted?
11 to 11.
1 to 9 Sunday, and then 11 to 11?
Yes.
Okay, I just want to-
Thursday through Saturday
Thank you.
9 months, right?
for 9
And
months.
I second.
Then we
All right.
reevaluate.
So we have a motion. We have a second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
No.
All right, and I'm for it, so that's 4-4, 1 against. That motion carries. So we'll close out item 6B. And go to 6A, library project. C1, award the base bid and alternate bid to DWA Incorporated in total amounts of $678,973 and $23,000. You have anything to add, Paul?
I think I sent a packet out to the board with the bids, if you had any questions about the individual amounts. I know Philip is here too, who's part of it, and Butch was also there for the opening. So basically, on the first motion, the award is to the low bidder, DWA Inc. That's the recommendation. We did check their references, and they all came back positive and strong. So it seems like a good outfit. And so the base bid was the essential work at the library that's going on. We've talked about a good bit. And then separately, there was the alternate bid, which was work on the exterior of the building. Some of the parking lot, there was an entryway and there was a handicap ramp and a sidewalk were the main elements of that. And they were low on both of those bids. So the first motion, if the board acquiesces, is to award the base bid and alternate bid to DWA in the amounts stated therein in paragraph 1.
Anyone got any questions in regards to the base bid or the alternate bid? All right, hearing none, we'll close C1 out, and we'll consider approval of the proposed contract and allow town staff to negotiate the contract with DWA Inc., subject to final approval of the town attorney.
So I think, that's the second motion. We need a motion on the first and the second separately.
I make a
Okay.
motion that we award the base bid and alternate bid to DWA Incorporated in the total amount of $678,973 and $23,000.
Second.
And we've got a motion and a second. Any discussion from the board? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, that motion carries. We'll close out C1, go to C2, consider approval of the proposed contract and allow town staff to negotiate a contract with DWA Inc., subject to final approval of the town attorney.
And all I'd add, as stated in the memorandum, TC has reviewed it at one point early on, and he's going to look at it again. And Philip was able to meet with the contractor even today to go over, make sure everybody was good. Everyone seems good with it. TC just wanted to make sure one extra thing after speaking to the contractor, but I think he's going to be good with it. But if he changes anything, it will just be a small provision here or there, nothing material. If that were to happen, obviously I'd bring it back to you, but he's just going to make sure it meets the North Carolina requirements, for awarding these kind of contracts. That's it. But so far, he was good with it.
All right. So do I have a motion?
I make a motion that we consider the approval of the proposed contract and allow town staff to negotiate a contract with DWA Inc., subject to final approval of the town attorney.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Close out C, go to D.
Well, before we get there, I hate to interrupt, just want to make sure, so with the board's permission, if the board will authorize the staff to issue any kind of notice to proceed, we may have to as part of the contract. I just want to make sure there's no hesitation on that. Sometimes the contracts kind of have a separate step with that, but just as long as there's no objection to the board, we do that as soon as everybody's ready. That'll be like the contract signed, we get all that in, that can take a few days or a week or so, depending on how things go.
Do you need a motion for that?
Probably, if that's all right.
Yeah, that's fine.
Well, the motion says that we are giving you ability to contract with him. What is this gonna say?
Right.
To
So
move
that's-
forward?
That's,
It's so, what Paul's talking about in the construction world is you sign a contract, but you still have to issue what's called a notice to proceed,
Okay,
which allows the contractor to start mobilizing while the contracts are being signed and
and that's really
everything's
when the
documented.
days
Yep.
start,
Yep.
Okay.
for the time limits. So it's a little strange, but it's a little bit of a two-step process, as
All right.
the Mayor Pro Tem explained. That's it.
I understand.
somebody want to make a motion? All
Make a motion that we authorize the contract to be proceeded by our town manager and the attorney.
Notice of proceed.
Notice to proceed.
That's right.
A second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion from the board? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Hearing no opposed, that motion carries. So we'll move on to 6D, consider approval of appointments and reappointments to various boards. Planning Director Pam Graham.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem and Board. The board has a number of reappointments and appointments to consider this evening. It seems that all of our boards have terms that expire in January, so we're trying to get a little bit ahead of that and ask you to consider these items. We've laid out these in our staff report according to the boards. So you'll see the ones that are highlighted. This is the DAB that's on the screen now. Those are the ones that are up for reappointment. The ones that are in red are vacancies that we'll still be seeking some folks to fill those seats in the future. And we have Leslie Habits, Nathan Lonan, and both coming up for reappointment to DAB, and then also Daniel Benke, who is an alternate, is not seeking reappointment, so we'll be asking you to reappoint the first two on this list. Planning Board has a nice staggering of seats, so Janet Peel, who's our chair, is up for reappointment, as is Diane Ennis, Tim Marsham, and Jane Cowan, who has been serving as an alternate, is not seeking reappointment, but we do have an application from Raymond Lee, who's interested in serving in that alternate role. So those would be the four interested parties that we'd like for you to consider this evening. Board of Adjustment, Raymond Lee has been serving as our chair, and he is up for reappointment in January, as is Dale Crumpton. We do have a couple of vacancies there, and we did hear from Daniel Benke that he was interested in serving one of the alternate positions there. And then our Historic Preservation Commission, really only one this go-round, and that's Alexis Taylor, who was filling a partial term that expires in January, so we're asking that the board consider reappointment there. We do have some vacancies on this board that we'll be seeking to fill in the coming months. Parents and Beautification Commission, Christine Bologna, and Janet Peel, who is our chair, and Elise Goodwin have been serving on that board and are interested in reappointments. Diane Ennis has a conflict and is not seeking reappointment, so we have three reappointments on that board. And we also have a new member that we'd like for you to consider, and that's Ann Parker, and she would be filling the spot that's currently being held by Commissioner Beavers, who is interested in stepping down from that role and very graciously offered to continue serving until a replacement could be found. And then our Parks and Recreation Advisory Committee has a number of reappointments coming on, as you see here on the list. Amberly Weber, Eli Schilling, Shakita McCrimmon, and Adriana Janker has asked to not be reappointed this go-around, and our Parks and Recreation Director is asking that Angelique Braxton be considered for appointment to that seat. And so that rounds out our list. It's rather lengthy, I know. I'm happy to take any questions. If I'm able to answer them, I certainly will. We feel very fortunate to have so many folks interested in serving the town. And although you see some of the names coming up more than once, we still feel fortunate that those folks are willing to do double or triple duty for us.
Do we have any questions from the board? All right. We'd like to make a motion for each bullet item that you see before you as listed in the staff report. So do I have a motion?
Make a motion to reappoint Leslie Habits, Nathan Lonan to serve new terms for Downtown Aberdeen Advisory Board. expiration date to be 2027.
I second it.
All right, we got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
We'll pass that one. Next one.
Okay. I make a motion to reappoint Janet Fields, Diane Ennis, and Tim Marsham to a new term on the planning board with a term expiration in January 2027, and appoint Raymond Lee to serve as an alternate member with a term expiration of 2027.
All right, we have a motion.
Question. I thought Diane is not seeking reelection.
She is not seeking reappointment on the Appearance and Beautification Commission, but she does want to continue serving on the planning board.
Okay,
I believe I have that right.
yeah.
Thank you.
All right,
If
so
that's
we,
what I said, I hope I'm right.
so we have a motion.
Second.
Second it.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
So hearing none, that motion carries.
Thank you.
Okay, I'll make a motion to reappoint Raymond Lee and Dale Compton to new terms on the Board of Adjustments with term expirations of January 27. Appoint David Banky as an alternate member with a term from January 25th to January 27.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Hearing none, that motion carries.
I make a motion that we appoint Alexis Taylor to a new term on the Historic Preservation Commission with an expiration of January 2027.
Second.
All right, I have a motion and I have a second. Any further discussion from the board? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. Hearing none, opposed, that motion carries.
Reappoint Janet, I make a motion, we reappoint Janet Peel, Christine Bologna, and Elise Goodwin to new terms on the Appearance and Beautification Commission with expiration dates of January 2027.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion from the board? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
That motion carries. One more.
I make a motion to reappoint Amberly Weber, Eli Schilling, and Shakita McCrimmon to new terms on the Park and Recreation Advisory Committee, and appoint Angelique Braxton as a new member, all with terms expiring in January 2027.
I have a motion. I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion from the board? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Hearing no opposed, that motion carries.
Thank you so very much.
We'll close out 6D and go to 7, other business. Anyone with other business? All right. Hearing none, we'll close out 7 and go to 8, which is our adjournment.
I make a motion that we adjourn.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion from the board? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. That motion carries.